and let them have dominion.
The kingdom of God is within people. It's the advancement of the people that is advancement
Because
of the kingdom.
faith must be backed by the assignment of this ministry is found from that verse. Where we
You're onto a word encounter as Pastor David Ogbueli ministers God's word to you with simplicity and power. God bless you.
He created them to control the earth, to control the circumstances on earth, just like God controls the heavenlies.
Why is it that you have no faith? When people are at that state, don't tell them speak. The only type of speaking we teach them at such times out is like action and reaction. You hit a wall. It's not only the wall that you hit yourself. Because that force will travel, impact the wall, but it will travel backward into your hand. So sometimes you feel pain. If it's a hammer, you will see the dented wall, but after a while you start seeing dented hammer. So some hammerheads start bending in some way. That is it. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. So when you speak words, it doesn't just go to affect circumstances. It moves to affect your spirit. So faith-filled words over time will keep energizing your spirit until it quickens it. That is that part. But that's a long part. That's why some people tell you, I've been confessing. If they had generation first, they wouldn't have wasted their time doing all this confessing. You can address the fig tree once and go home. A day or two after you come back, you see it withered. You won't have to confess 100 times, confess a whole year over one fig tree. You can address that cancer, that growth once. You can address that womb that will not conceive once. But first, generate the substance in your spirit. Generate it. That's why we drown when our faith, you know, in the aircraft, each time you to take off, they talk to us about all the safety kits and all that. And one of them is the one under your chair, the life kit. What did they normally call it again? Life jacket. Now, if you are to travel by ship, they also give some safety, whatever, and they also talk about lifeboats. Some of them are inflated materials, and in case the boat sinks, that's how you can stay afloat and survive. And if the aircraft is to go down, especially if it lands on water, this life, so you can stay afloat and not sink in the ocean. So your life depends on your faith. Puncture it, you go, you sink. Anytime it's punctured, you are sinking. You better repair it before you go down completely. The Bible said this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Despair never solves one problem. It makes the problem worse as the days go by. But there are two groups here. There are some of us that are at the critical end. There are some of us, it's just that we have overworked our system and have not balanced the level of release with the level of refueling. So you're beginning to, get into some very funny zone where the fluid of life, of divine life, is drained. Your spirit is drained so much. You teach the divine nature. The only thing I've seen about that particular thing is that it is is a type of life that is replenishable. It's not something you take from Jesus and take off. It's something you receive from Jesus, but you stay in relationship with him, so it keeps being referred. The divine nature is an amazing thing. It's not like God has given you an independent life from him. It's a life of a branch in relationship with the vine. It's a life of the branch in relationship with the vine. You will have it supplied constantly. So you won't know it can be cut off until you tamper with fellowship with the vine for a period of time. When you do it for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you might not feel it because the sap is still inside you functioning. Over a period of time, the symptoms will start showing. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. There is cruising in ministry. There is resting in God. Don't let this thing kill you. Christianity is not a struggle. It's the law that produces struggle. Christianity is not a struggle. You're struggling too much to please God. That's not how this life is designed. Even if it's me, your pastor. Maybe you're a pastor and you're struggling too much to please me. The mystery about struggle is that the moment you enter it, you start making a lot of mistakes. And you start messing up big time. Then you start failing the person you're trying to please. Take note. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. When your faith is not in place, you can't make God happy. You can't. You can't make him happy. Because you don't please God by the righteousness of the law. I've not done anything bad. Some of the bad things people can do. That's not how you please God, though. You might be surprised. The foundation for pleasing God is trusting him. When you stop trusting God, you start failing him. And when you stop trusting God, you start failing yourself. The promises you make, even to your wife or yourself, that you will do, you will find that you are not able to measure up. Because your work functions, your life functions by faith. Your productivity is high when you believe. Manifestation is high when you believe. Provision is high when you believe. And Satan is checked when you believe. When your faith starts wobbling, the power of Satan starts increasing. And if he sees that this anemia of faith is getting serious with you, he will start supplying some very wonderful attacks. Because at that time, you don't have what weights it off. The Bible says, take the shield of faith. With it you can quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So you are my concern today. That's what pastoring is all about. You want to change Nigeria, change Lagos. Thank God for that. That's secondary. The people are more important than the project. Jesus did not die for national transformation. He died for you. I want to say it again. Jesus, actually, there are some 4 words he asked me to tell you on a personal level. He said this is word to you, and very soon I'm going to be mentioning them. For example, one of them is, he said, I need to tell every one of you again to take note that he loves you. It's not loving Dominion City or loving an organization or loving a crowd. That he loves you as a person. No matter what anybody has said about you, said to you, no matter the circumstances you have gone through, don't let it drown the light of this truth. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Now, here is what he asked me to show you. Now, we are beginning to treat faith. We are beginning to treat it. How many of you are beginning to feel the water is rising? Just watch very soon now. You're going to look at inside you, there will be substance. Then you can look at your mountain, because it's that bullet you fired to the mountain, it demystifies, it materializes. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Now, here is what he asked me to say. There are 2 sides to this love thing between you and God. There is love the Lord your God. Love the Lord. Then there is the Lord loves me. The Lord asked me to tell you, he said, even if you're not loving him so much, it's not important. That what he wants is you to know and believe that he loves you. He said you can't love him like you should until you know how much he loves you. That's why you have to get it. This faith thing is what gets everything to work. You are struggling with living right, living holy, and you are falling. It's not sin that is become so powerful now. There is something else that is tampered. It's by faith that you stand. When your own consciousness of his care, of his love, of all that is in place, it checkmates how much evil can derail you. When last did you hear of a woman that knows her husband's love committing adultery? Before a woman goes to commit, in relationship with Jesus, you are the woman. He is the, I hope you know that. The relationship between the husband and the wife is an expression of the relationship between Christ and the church. You and Christ. You are the wife. You are his helpmate. And you can come here to talk about cooking him another soup, a goosey soup. Jesus said, forget the food. I'm not hungry. If I were hungry, I won't tell you. The cattle in 1,000 hills are mine. The earth is and the fullness thereof are mine. Don't bother. That's not the issue. Let's get this thing right. Because when a woman goes to the kitchen to cook for the husband, she cooks it out of love. When they bring the food, they want to make you happy. When it has become a duty, as they are cooking, they are sweating, they are murmuring, it's no more what it's designed to be. The reason women commit adultery, women don't commit adultery as a law. It's men that commit adultery as a general principle. It's true. Women don't commit adultery. Some of the most adulterous men, their wives are still very loyal. It's men that commit adultery, and there is reason for that, but we're not talking about men today. But the only thing about Jesus Christ too is that instead of being like that, he has rights. Decide that he's not interested in you and do whatever. He has bound himself with an oath towards you that he cannot. He said, by two immutable things in which it is impossible for God to lie. So if he used to abandon people in the Old Testament, he can't try it. The truth is that even when you read his relationship with Israel, he never abandoned them once. Why? There was also a covenant involved in that one. So that one checks him. So Jesus cannot treat me anyhow. It's not like I'm just here, no. He took his vow, I took my own. So he said, I should tell you, whether you are loving him as you should or not, that's not the issue. That he loved you while you were yet sinners. The Lord asked me to tell you something. He said, you won't know how much he loves you until you know how much he loves Jesus. Because that's what he gave up for you. Just to have you, he sacrificed his son. But you need to know what he sacrificed. You need to know what he sacrificed. He's only begotten. You have a boy, you have two boys. You are blessed, You have two boys, so you're blessed. Who has one boy? Only one. Abuchi, how many you have? One. Only one. God was talking to me one day about sacrificing his son. And he told me something. He said, do you want practical teaching? I said, yes. It's okay. I'll use Joshua to teach you. I said, sir, please. No. I will get the message. Don't try in that direction. It's true. Because I knew exactly what he was talking about. Just that boy to have fever, it kills me from inside. I can't explain it to you. One time he was down with fever and I held him in my hand, and the eyes were going in like, I came back from one of these my trips. I don't know whether I even traveled with Pastor Sarah. And so the guy was hot temperature, hey. Even with 3 boys, you don't know what happens to a man's heart. How much more when he's only one? No other thing. Unless you are a father yet, or you don't understand what I'm talking about, or you are a mother. See, a woman that has gone through all sorts to finally get that boy she has been believing God for, or that child. And then, do you know, a man dies. You know, a friend of mine was talking with me last 2 weeks while we were together in South Korea. We were there. Why they were there? They got a call from South Africa. Their only daughter died. Oh. All the comfort I have in this world did not work. You don't know. I've sat beside Pastor Taiwo a whole day. I didn't have any word to tell him. All the scriptures could not work. What do you tell a man? What kind of thing will you tell him? I went to stay with some of the kids, the daughters. And I said, how do you comfort people like that? Then how does a man now sacrifice only child that he has because of his love for another person, and yet the person still does not believe? It's a greater love has no man than this, than that a man should lay down his life for his friend. This is the first thing. There are 4 things I'm asked to come and tell you here to get your faith rocket back on gear. That's what makes every other thing to work. It rejuvenates worship, it rejuvenates prayer, it rejuvenates finances, it rejuvenates relationship, it rejuvenates. When your faith is in despair, when your faith, it affects your relationship even with brethren. That's when you become very critical, you're attacking everybody. All you are seeing is fault everywhere. The person you are the one that is sick. Have you ever seen sick people? Do you see sick people showing love? They are so irritable. Sometimes some people who are looking after them complain. Because the sick man is sick. He's in pain. So the whole world has to be around him. He has not have time to show any other person love. The only thing he knows is when love is not flowing. He tells you that love has died in church because he's not feeling. Not because he has... When people tell me, love in the church, I don't know what has happened to us. I say, go do 5 visitations to 5 families. Go get your money, break what you have into 2 and share the other, and tell me if love will not come alive. It's you that is the problem. It's selfish love that is always dry. When faith is tampered with, it affects every other thing. It's the regulator of the Christian life. It's that thermostat that regulates everything, keeps things flowing, and keeps victory sustained. Amazing thing about faith crash is that it has a way of messing up the victories of the past. Not like Satan comes and takes it away, but it so alters people's perception that they don't even remember that anything happened in the past. Jesus said, I should tell you, the only way you can know the love that the Father has for you is to understand the kind of love the Father has for him. Because that's the exact love he has for you. That's why he sacrificed him, to let you know this is the measure of my love. That's why the scripture said that if we know the depth, the width, the breadth, the height of the love of God that passeth knowledge, if we ever venture in that direction, we'll be filled with all the fullness of God. There's a dimension of God that the revelation of his love alone can communicate to you. You are working for God. God wants a friend. God wants a partner. This you're working for God will kill you. God wants a relationship. He will kill you. That's the law. Servants of God. That's what the law can produce. Slaves. No. Grace produces sons. That's what God has invited you into. Come unto me, all you that labor. I'll give you rest. Then sit down and learn of me. meek and lowly in the heart, you find rest to your soul, for your soul. Lift your hands. I just want you to pray a simple prayer. God, remove me from this life of struggle. Move me back into grace. You know the G factor, that engraced life. That's where I'm living. That's what I'm trying to transmit to you. That's where I am. I don't have any headache. Not because I have everything together, but because Jesus has put everything together for me. He has put everything, has made all things right. He said, I'll give you rest. That's what he's giving to me. That's what he's giving to me. I don't have a headache. Ask him to move you out of. And you know how? Get out of the law. It's the law that is causing all the trouble. It's a tax master. You will labor till you die. You want to please, you want to. It's not like that. Get out of the law. You are trying to assess things by what you think you did, whether you got it right, by whether. There will always be condemnation. There will always be shortcoming. There will always be areas you don't meet up. And those areas will be causing trouble. Father, I ask for revelation of grace. I ask for revelation of grace. I ask for the toiling and the struggle to be lifted. I ask the supernatural servicing of the faith of your people, the quickening power, the resurrection power to hit the spirit of every man here, reinfusing that divine life, that divine substance that makes us live like you, that makes us live like Jesus, that makes us walk on water, that makes us control the storms, that makes us take charge of every circumstance. Let not one person who have come out here this morning to share this time of fellowship with you, with me, with the Holy Spirit, live here without the substance, without. Let not one of them live the same. Move them out of struggle, because you did not intend for this to be a struggle. Christianity is a relationship. Let me say this. All of you who are pastors, listen, please. You know, you are following me. I'm talking about national transformation. Please. Please. I made a mistake twice. God corrected me. So don't make it. Please. Don't take transformation and neglect the people. God, Jesus died for the people. And let me even tell you a secret. If you succeed with changing Nigeria, we will still be a failure until we succeed with changing the people. What God calls national transformation is people transformation. Don't get into service and you're so obsessed with buying land, doing project, or even, you know, I initiated a Lagos City project, for example. Don't be obsessed with Lagos City project at the expense of the flock. Don't be obsessed with buying land. You want to buy equipment. What is it? We need to build. Don't let that disturb the equilibrium of the church. Let me tell you a secret. Watch me. Be watching me. You will learn something. There is something. Pastor Nobody came one day and said, I don't understand. How can you be raising fund and the glory of God is still in the service? How can the whole place be charged with God like this? And yet, how do you do this thing? I said, watch what I do. If fund is my concern and I have 1 hour, I'll both 45 minutes solving the people's problem and bring that fund 15 minutes. At the end of the day, we raise fund. You think it's fund that I have come to do. You have no right to tell the people to do one thing for God till you have provided for them what God has done for them. I don't think you heard what I said. There is something about Christianity you must understand. Christianity is not a call to come and do something. It's a call to receive what has been done. That's what produces the life of rest. If you keep preaching do for people, do what they will give, what they will sacrifice, you will kill them. Jesus said it this way. We love because he what? First loved him. He said, as what? Christ loves you. Always begin with what he has done for them. Always begin by feeding them with what Jesus has made available for them. After you have done that, then ask them for that little they will do for you. They will do it far more than you are asking them to do. Don't turn worship into another work. Don't even turn intercession into another work. It will wear you out and wear your people out. Don't turn evangelism into another work. Do you know evangelism is the outflow of that life with him? There's something I will show you in a few minutes. There's nobody who has that won't want to tell another person. There's nobody, or someone who has that, who won't want to help another person share it. It's not another. That Old Testament ministry is a ministry of condemnation. It leaves people worse, feeling bad all the time that they have not met up. It leaves people condemned. It leaves people. It's a ministry. It kills. The scripture said it kills. The letter kills. Let me give you an example. I went through South Korea and then I went to China. I was supposed to end up in Singapore, but I didn't have enough nerves to fly. When I actually understood the distance between those places, I thought they were all near each other. So 1 hour, 2 hours, you can cross from country to country. So I planned to cover all that. But I now found out that to go from China to Singapore is like going from Europe, from Dubai to China. And just going from here to Dubai to China is like going to planet Jupiter. You sit in the aircraft, you are tired. You watch movie, watch all sorts of, till you get tired. You listen to music. I had a book, I read till I got tired of the book. You look at the time, you say like, this aircraft is moving. It's a 7 hour start. That's my first time. Now I understood why they call it Far East. It's the end of the world. When I got 1.4 billion, I said, God, how did all these people come here? Is it not in the Tower of Babel here that North Africa that the world began? How did they? He said, are you not the one that preached tectonic plates? The shifting. God cracked the planet into pieces. Carried these ones. The Mongoloids. Each country you enter, there are the same people who is like Africa, you Ghanaians, Yorubas, Igbos, black people, the same. You Koreans are Chinese, all of them are the same. Singaporeans are all Chinese people, but different languages. So that's why China has to break up. It needs to break up like the former Soviet Union for the good of the people. For the good of the people. You see what happened? When I arrived at Korea, from the airport, I said, what is this? I have traveled though. I hope you know I'm well traveled. So when I tell you a nation impressed me, you better know. Because I've seen the best nations of the world. I don't know what else there is to see really. It should be lower. I've seen the best ones. And arrived in the airport. I said, Korea? What's happening? To start with, they built their international airport, the particular one we had to use, on an island inside the sea. So water, next thing you are landing is island in the sea. And then this island, they connected it to their mainland. And the wonders they did there, I said, wow. So from the reception and the people who have to drive us to the hotel, I started asking, I said, this country is very safe. I just noticed how everybody is nice. I said, Yongicho, maybe you have arranged, because you have international conference, you have arranged all these guys to be nice like this. Ooh. I visited families. I visited grandmothers. You need to see these praying grandmothers that prayed a church of 800,000 people. One church. You know what is 800,000? Do you know what 100,000 looks like? In one side, one church. They do service till they are tired of service on Sundays. Need to see the massive thing they built, where stadium and put roof on it that they call church. 6 a.m. service, 8 a.m. service till evening. If you're one pastor to preach, you just die. The pastor just comes for one service, preaches, goes home. His wife attends, other pastors. That's how things should be done. What is preaching yourself? But don't kill yourself. There's rest in this thing. Eh? You need to read Young Cho's book, how he will want to baptize everybody. When they were still 3,000. He'll be baptizing, he will see red and then collapse inside the water. They'll carry him to hospital. Chronic fatigue till he couldn't preach for I don't know how many years. But it was during those years that he will not be able to preach that the church exploded. God said, I want to teach you. You think you're too much. It's the people that grow the church. It's not the pastor. It's not the pastor. It's not the pastor. It's the sheep that multiplies the fold, not the shepherd. And the mystery of the people who did this work, women. Your young girls, some of them have become old people. I sat in cell groups, went even into underground cell group, because they used to have underground, like China. It was a Buddhist nation. What shook me is that I saw with my eyes for the first time a present-day nation that is completely transformed. Now, I've been to US, UK, European nations, Christian nations. They were transformed by Christianity, but the difference is that they are in backsliding state. So you will see infrastructure, you will see fine roads, fine skyscrapers, everything. But if you look into the life of the people, it's messed up. But right now, I met one country that has everything. Infrastructure, the people, everything. For example, look at education. It's 100% literacy. There is nothing like one child that did not go to school. There's nothing like one school dropout in a whole country of 65 million people. Everything is working. The streets, they can put your eba on the road and be eating it. No, I don't know if you know something about me. When it comes to observing environment, I'm very detailed. Like since I came here, I've gone inside that small hall with you. Because while I was in China, all I was to import everything and transform this hall and all the equipments we need for outreaches and all that. But what really was my concern was, so I observe even gutter. I went, you don't see their gutter. So, but there was one place where you can, they have some of those things covering. I wanted to see inside. Everywhere is neat. That was why I was especially glad when we had the opportunity to visit families, then cell groups. I said, what kind of thing is this? And I stayed in a hotel. I was staying in whether it's 16th floor, one of their best hotels there. And I stayed with Americans, businessmen who didn't come for the conference I came, who came for international business, and then pastors. And so every time we go for breakfast, we're discussing the country. I was sitting with this group of Americans. The man said, is this your first time? I said, yes. He said, this is not my first time. I was in this place in 1981. This country was a sorry situation. He said, this whole thing you see happened in 25 years. He said, I'm so amazed. It sounds like a lie, but yet it's true. Because my country, US, it took us 300 years to do what these people did in 25 years. The president of the country came to address us. He has a prayer life. He has his personal study life. He has morning devotion. He's a Christian to the core. He can't do anything. He will have to consult Young Cho. Now, and he shares what he studied that morning. Not what he... They've eliminated corruption. When he's talking about zero corruption. Zero. I know there will be one or two bad people, but I did not see. I actually tried to see. 2 nights, I came down because they told me that this country is safe 24 hours. It's so safe that you can drop your dollar in the street and leave. So I said, church, no, let me go. I go into the street and talk with normal people who don't know God. But this was a 100% Buddhist nation, and communism came, but somehow with the help of America, they grabbed the South. The communists captured the North. And missionaries came and started working on this country. And 25 years after. So it's not this transformation we're trying to do without Jesus in it. Talking nonsense to people as if you want to. You think if you go and build Gotham and build orphanage, that means you have changed Nigeria. You have not changed nothing if you don't change the people. There is no genuine transformation without the gospel. And there is no genuine transformation without Christ-centered gospel. Did you hear what I said? You don't change a nation with moral instruction. That is, let's not say Jesus so that, I've told you I have visited countries. This is what I'm studying. I've gone to all kinds of nations. Many of the intellectuals and whatever as I could find who speak English, they said all of this happened in 30 years. As at the 1980, 81, 82, this place was one of the worst. It was so backward. Then, all of a sudden, China agreed to do that, a little opening up in agreement with the West. And then they also did a magic by bringing in all of their children abroad who have studied in the US and all that, and declared a season of coming to transfer back both technology and wisdom to mother home. And then they opened up and brought foreign expatriates. They brought people that have, and they came and helped them to do some of those wonderful things. But also, they were also wiser than us because we will only give away our projects to the expatriates. They teamed it in such a way that everything you are doing, you're surrounded by their people. And you do it for a while. They take it from you and give it to their people. And you supervise, then they tell you it's time to step aside. Let their people take it up. So their people, they've really copied America and they are doing well. Then Hong Kong was finally returned to them. Britain is an old country. So what they did is that some of the things they could not do because they don't believe in breaking down, they can retouch inside. They live there. They did some wonders with Hong Kong. And discipled that place. It's an English speaking, and they gave it back to China. And all of that, the synthesis from US here, they've built great, like the Tower of Babel. It will impress you. Now, we have high-rising building, government building, theaters where you can go and watch movies, where the Americans, the white people will come. You get to where the people live. Onitsha is very fine. Now, what I'm trying to show you is the warning of developing infrastructure at the expense of human beings. So you can be doing a ministry where you are talking project, Lagos City project, what is it, building, what do you want to build? Dominion City project, what is it? Church building project, bus, transport project. Your people are dying under you, rotting away. Leadership is a balance between vision and people. Vision and people. If you have projects, make sure you give people 60% value, project 40. It should even be 70-30. Because what happened, I asked them the simple secret. Youngish Joe was at the center of it. With a few of other ministers, because finally the thing started catching. It's not just their church that did the work, but their church was central, like Adelaja was leading in Ukraine, but they worked on the people You can imagine that it's inside that their church, the first car that Korea as a whole nation manufacture came. Now they have so many car companies, they don't import. Do you know you see like 100,000 cars, then you see one Mercedes. Yet every time I see things that are like Mercedes, all types of molded things on four wheels, all types of Jeep, I will get close to see which one is this. It's not. It's probably you see 100,000 cars. These are things I kept counting. You don't confuse me on such things. Don't tell me close your eyes. When it gets to learning, open my eyes well. Then you see one BM. So I now went to talk with some Americans, those people. Next day in breakfast, they said, this is the hardest country to break in terms of international. I said, why? He said, not only that they produce everything they need, their people are proud of their product. And they all use it. From young child, I watched the car he was driving. Benny Hinn was around on Friday. I watched the car they brought him with. All of them are manufactured by their people. They worked on the people. The people started inventing. They started creating. They started everything. And you know, it's different from China where communist government was controlling all the money. So they could build all the things. This one is no. It's not government that built Korea. It's the corporate, the private sector, the civil societies, the individuals that built that whole nation. Government organized it so they don't build in disorder. Because you can't see one building out of place. So they made all the laws to, you know, and the people raised that. For example, that church, Yongicho, they have 4 skyscrapers. There's one I went to. I got to about 28th floor, and I tried to look through the window. My whole head was expanding and contracting. I have 4 feet that I saw with my eyes. Can you imagine mission? Just mission. Mission department. They build mission tower. And it is a 37-story building. I said, so what do you do here? He said, mission for everything. Japan, China, all the church planting around the world. Each nation has its office. That church has university. They have all sorts of things. So when you're talking about impacting society, but guess what? We had special time with Yongicho. Again and again. We were sucking that man. It's not university. You won't see him talk about. They are enforcing, empowering people with the gospel. As they empower them with the gospel, they empower them with vision for the world out there. The people now rise up. The wife was telling us she's now a professor and she went and founded one university by herself. She's a chancellor of university. She said, pray for the one in the church. He said English is a problem here because, you know, they speak there. So at age of 54, she decided to go back to school to become a doctor and studied. One of the area was English language and became a doctor and worked and became a professor. And then went and founded a whole university and became a chancellor of it. At that age. So I got to the other side. They are building flyovers and bridges and all these things. Sports stadiums, you know, wonderful constructions and theaters, beautiful World Trade Centers, stock exchange. All those things that help government and the people, you know. So when you come from outside, you are impressed by it. Most of your activities will be there, like their trade fair center. It was amazing. But in China, if you enter bus, if you don't hold your purse, both your pocket and your money disappears. I now went to go and interact with people. I saw people, this thing is moving and left the people. And these are not 100,000 people. We're not talking about 100 million people. We're talking about double the continent of Africa. We're 800 million. They are 1.4 billion. That is, after you get the whole of Africa, you get another 600 million. That's almost double. and they left these masses of people behind. So you can imagine. This is the same thing with church. Develop infrastructure at the expense of people. Develop programs at the expense of people. People first, then project second. And if there is a time where there's a crash that could be detrimental to people, slow the project down. It's better. Save the lives. Because our greatest asset is what Jesus died for. For God so loved the world that he did what? He gave his only begotten son. Who did he love? Not the world system, the market, the economy, the land, the skyscrapers. It's the world of people. People. The world of people. You know, like Abuja. You know, after seeing all that, and the Lord has been talking with me too. So, like this Abuja, National Youth Project. Gather all those youths. Give them moral instruction and motivational talk. Nigeria in the next 1 million years will not change. The truth is that if you throw that mic to those young people, some of them are better motivators. If you put them on that stage, if they rattle you like this. The Lord said, you see what you did on Sunday, in the Sunday service. Next, whatever, do it in that open rally. Something I did, you know, when we got into the Sunday service, if you were there, were you in Abuja? If you were there, I had some leaders of the National Youth Council of Nigeria in the service. When we opened up how genuine transformation occurs, starting with the human spirit, and opened up the gospel, one of the things I noticed, those boys were flat on their faces. They've been calling me since. They disturb me every week. You are my pastor. They joined the Pastor Norbert. Because Jesus can do in 1 minute what all our years of moral instruction cannot do in 30 years. Of course, he came to talk to me after that night. He said, what are we doing? Let's give these people this thing. What are we holding back? The truth is that there is no way. Satan's child is Satan's child. No matter how the kind of cosmetic eyeshadow you put on his face, all those whatever, all the motivational things you package him with. Put him in government. When that his nature rises, when he finishes showing manifesting his. Number 2, and maybe I can slow down here when we see next, but number 2, God asked me to tell you something. God asked me to tell you something. Christianity and everything that it carries is built on the foundation of grace. If you don't understand grace, you will not be an effective Christian and you will not be an effective minister. You will kill people, not meaning it, but that's what you'll be producing. Your ministry will be slaughtering people because the ministry of condemnation is what you will have. Grace is what Christianity is built on. Undeserved and unmerited favor. That's what Jesus brought. You know the scripture that in John chapter 1, as he started ending, he said, the law came through Moses. Find it for me. You need to see it. There's a difference between the old covenant and the new covenant. He said the law came through Moses, but grace and truth is what Jesus Christ brought. Listen, my friends, I know we want to get people to do right. I know we want to get people to live right. But you don't produce right living with the law. You can never produce it. I don't know about you. You don't even have some of the punishments that Moses was equipped with. Sometimes the earth will open up and people will be swallowed up. Sometimes fire will burn people to death. Sometimes people are stoned to death for breaking one thing. Look at the day they broke the first commandment. He came down, 23 people were slaughtered that day. And these brethren that were given sword to kill their fellow brethren who were worshiping that idol. With all that, what happened? Still, all those 3 million people perished. If you want a ministry where after you have preached, only 2 people will make heaven, Joshua and Caleb, take the ministry of condemnation. Because of the ministry of the law, in the name that you want to produce people who will live right, you destroy people without knowing. It's the ministry of the law that if you don't understand why people operate like that, it's Moses' ministry. The preacher always has stone. What is he after? Sin. He wants to get rid of sin. And they stone. They stone. They stone. He used pulpits. And if I come here with stone, I don't even need real stone, just this one. Just a carton of it. It's supposed to be 24. And I release one here. You know, blood will flow. I release one in Olumide's direction. Some blood will flow. Quiet direction. By the time I've thrown 6, some of you will go on that chair also. Remove the law and the church will grow. Remove it. Remove it. It cannot produce one good person. It's so powerful, so destructive that at the end of the day, the man that was doing the preacher himself died in the wilderness. Did not see the promised land. To show you how deadly this thing is. The preacher, the pastor, who wanted to get everybody to live right, who wanted by bringing this table, the day he brought the 10 commandments, he broke 10 of them. They did not reach the foot of the mountain. The Oga broke all of them. I've tried it, using it, because really I want to produce people too who will live right. You know what I found? The more fit you preach, the more you fail, and the more the people fail. Deliverance from sin is found in grace, not in the law. The law complicates this same problem. All of you need a revelation of grace. Make sure you are in the pastor's retreat. Oh, it's a couple of 2 weeks' time. We're going to rediscover the gospel that saves, that transforms, that changes lives. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And this is what I keep seeing. Minister after minister, and I can call names, but I don't bother. There's no need. Somehow, when they finish with that law thing, somewhere they become a victim of it. Because it's merciless. He said, by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified in the sight of God. Stop trying to do right. Stop struggling to please God. That's what I'm going. The law is about you want to obey rules to meet standard. You think that this is how it must be before God is happy with you. The grace is undeserved and unmerited. There's something you need to understand. You have favor with God not because of you, but because of Christ and the price he paid on the cross. God answers your prayer not because of you, but because of Jesus and the sacrifice he made on the cross. God loves you even before you became a Christian, while you were a sinner. But now that you are even his child, the love is perfected. It's even at another level. You can never merit God's love or God's favor, because there will never be a time when in your own ability you are perfected. If you're going to now assess your relationship with God by first looking at yourself, you fail. The law always produces bondage. It causes everything. It chokes the blessing, converts it to curse, chokes the anointing, and introduces the flesh struggle. It chokes faith and introduces condemnation. It moves the man finally to that place of bondage where he will struggle till he dies. When faith is to come alive, you release grace. What does grace say? It is not because of me, it's because of Christ. Grace always says, look at the cross. The law always says, look at yourself. Grace always says, look at what Jesus did. The law always says, look at what you have done. Each time you look, condemnation. But what the scripture said is that as Moses lifted up serpent in the wilderness, that's how the Son of Man has been lifted up. That whosoever looks, the secret of Christianity is not looking on yourself. You will never have faith to pursue what God has called you to pursue. You will always have guilt. You always have condemnation. Satan will find one thing. Even if it is you got angry with the Okada man as you were coming, or you taxed him and you spoke something. Christianity is look on the cross. He said looking unto Jesus. He didn't say looking at yourself. Looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith. It's always the cross that produces the victory. When you look at the cross, then grace has basis. Then out of grace flows faith. Then when faith is in place, the Holy Spirit confirms. And then the next thing you see is multiplication, blessings, manifestations. No matter what it is, whether it is healing, the Holy Spirit only moves when faith is exercised. The Holy Spirit moves to confirm what faith has believed. But faith has its strength on two things. In the Old Testament, on self-righteousness. I did right. Righteous is as bold as a lion. I met God's standard. That's one foundation for faith. This is the reason why people don't have it. Because even if today they think they are fine, tomorrow again they find themselves back. But faith has another basis. The foundation for faith in the New Testament is the cross.
Have you been impacted by this message? Please share your experience with Pastor David Ogbueli. Email address dominionimagemedia@yahoo.com or call 01-792-6879, 0803-435-7959, 0803-590-9900.